I was 24, I had everything to lose. I just built a brand new house. The week after I quit my job to start my shop full time, she told me she was pregnant. Actually, she worked 3 jobs while I started this because I wasn't making any payroll. I did a lot of presentations to banks and none of them gave me the time of day. I took out a $5,000 personal loan, high interest loan, and bought my first piece of used equipment. Those are ones that are in process right now, but we just shrunk the heads in and stuff, so he has to do some finish turning yet. So this is like a 20 by 40. And here has live tooling. Yep, Mori Sekis. Those are very rigid machines.
This is a big machine, but this thing makes it look like little. Yeah. So you're a thumbs up on the tariffs?
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's working. If you have a plan and you have the work, probably don't hold back. I mean, it wouldn't be anything to work 80 hours a week. I think our record was 36 hours straight, a couple different times. There's a lot of times that I thought about stopping and going back to work. My name's Thomas Geiger. I'm the owner of Machining and Repair Services. We've been in business for 23 years. Started off with 5 or 6 guys. Now we're up to 30 guys. It was challenging when I first started because I was only 24 years old. So it was a little tricky to get some customers. I worked in 2 different shops. Going back to that, one shop that I worked for ran really nice, really organized. Basically, good example machine shop.
Right.
And my second job I worked at was just the opposite. It was kind of poorly ran, and not organized. And so I had a easy way to say this is the right way to do it, this is the wrong way to do it. We went out and got a couple really old machines.
Used machines?
Used machines, and I was in a garage stall.
Smaller machinery, I'm assuming?
It's like tree mills, bridge mills, manual lathes, that kind of stuff. One of the hardest challenges after that was probably equipment. Using old equipment, maintenance, a lot of maintenance times, a lot of down times, and then also people, finding the right people to put in the overtime and be able to fix machines too when they broke down. And now I have guys here that have been here for 20 years. There's a guy that's been here for 19 years.
Nice.
A couple of guys that have been here for like 17 years. And that's kind of the core of the company, and we've grown from there.
Right.
And now even a lot of these guys on the shop floor have been here a long time.
Yeah, it says something good about the business, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
You guys get along at a minimum?
Yeah, well, for the most part. but yeah, it's been quite a road.
So you went right out of high school into a shop?
Yep. I actually landed my first machine shop job right out of high school, the summer after I graduated. And I was already enrolled in the machine tool program at the Box Way Tech in Appleton. So I already had a plan of getting into the field. And I had applied at a shop and they hired me. And that guy there too that I worked with trained me, was one of the best trainers ever that I've ever seen. So he took this high school kid, I was 17 when I graduated, and he turned me into within a year and a half I was running a CNC lathe and even doing some of the programming on my own. And that's what I really liked, was the programming portion and actually dealing with people. I mean, even at a young age I had a lot to do with training some new people and working through issues, day-to-day issues. So that's why one day I just kind of thought I could do for myself.
So, I mean, that takes some guts to do. Like, you just were 24, you didn't have anything to lose and you took a shot, or like, how did
probably
you?
The opposite.
Okay.
I was 24, I had everything to lose.
How so?
I just built a brand new house.
Oh.
The week after I quit my job to start my shop full time, she told me she was pregnant. So our first kid was on the way.
Wow.
And since then, we've had 2 others, so we have 3 kids. My wife also has a nursing career, so she's working hard at that.
Yeah.
Actually, she worked 3 jobs while I started this because I wasn't making any payroll for myself. So yeah, I mean, we had to hurry up and get things rolling here because we had a lot of stuff going on. So timing, was not good planning on our part, but in the end, it worked out good. And yeah, we raised the family through all this. And now my son is a junior in high school. Next year he's finishing up school and going to do a little bit of an apprentice program here, going to the Box Way Tech School like I did, and hopefully we can keep this thing rolling for another 25 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's kind of the start of, or the history of the company.
So if there's like some skilled machinist or a guy in a shop and he kind of wants to start his own shop, do you have any advice for him?
I would pay attention to the older generation that's training you, because they're very knowledgeable. I learned just as much, if not more, at work that I did at school.
Right.
Not saying not this in school at all, because that's also necessary. But go through the machine tool program. You can do it in a year and a half full-time or a couple of 2-3 years part-time. And then at your job, I mean, pay attention and learn from these people, because that's the way you get ahead.
Yeah.
I've worked with some people that maybe are negative about the company that they work for, and don't follow their lead. Follow the other guys, that are
Right.
working hard for the company and smart and understand the business and machining.
Yeah.
Because it goes hand in hand.
And then obviously, like with this business, equipment's expensive.
Yep.
So like that's an impediment for a lot of guys starting the shop. They're like, oh, I don't have the money to do it.
Right.
Or would you just kind of advise people to do what you did and start with old used machinery and work your way up? Or
yeah, I would. What I tried to do was I had a big business plan formatted, and I went to several banks to try to get a fairly decent sized business loan, which probably won't even cut it anymore these days, but it was enough to get a couple pieces of fairly new used equipment. But there was no bank that actually backed me.
Oh, really?
I do now. I mean,
right.
I've made a lot of progress since I found a bank that would support me. But as a 24-year-old kid, I did a lot of presentations to banks, and none of them gave me the time of day. So the way I started is I took out a $5,000 personal loan, high interest loan,
Okay.
and bought my first piece of used equipment. And that's how it started.
Wow.
And when I made $5,000, and I bought another $5,000 piece of equipment. And then it just snowballed.
Yeah.
I remember buying a piece of equipment from Jeff that was $40,000. That was our first new used piece of equipment.
Right.
And I actually got my first loan from a bank to buy it. And since then, we actually have located a bank. Probably, I've been working with First State Bank for 15 years at least now, who does believe in us and supports us.
Right.
Good times and bad, and that's when we got in with Campro, and we started buying a lot of new equipment.
Right.
And I think that's the best scenario. No maintenance,
Right.
low maintenance anyways, and the machines need to be running all the time to make money.
Yeah.
So, but it took a long time to
Yeah.
get there.
So how many years from when you started the business to when you bought your first piece of new equipment?
I would say 13 years
Okay.
of used
Yep.
equipment going down. Frustrations of just repairing equipment to keep them going.
Knowing what you know now, do you wish you jumped to the new machines earlier just for the fact that low maintenance and stuff?
I do, yeah.
Yeah,
I do.
okay.
And some of that was on me. Some of it, like I said, was bank support, but some of it was me just
Right.
holding back.
Oh, you live and learn, right?
But yeah, as you get to this point, you can see the numbers. What happens when the machine actually does run the whole shift,
Right.
the whole week. It makes a huge difference.
Sure.
And these are affordable machines too, so
Right.
that helps. Some equipment out there just isn't affordable. So it's been a good relationship with us,
Yeah.
with Campro. So
Speaking of, we're standing in front of a big Campro bridge mill here. So this one you got just like
This is-
10 feet of X travel.
yep, and this is one of two. This is our second one of the same.
Check out the other one in a minute.
And then we actually have a 20 by 50 smaller C-frame style mill, and we also have a couple 20 by 40s. So I think we have 5 Campros altogether since the day.
How do you like the Campro? Like, I see you got Toyotas here, you got Femcos. How does the Campros do
Right up-
compared to everything else?
Right up with them.
Yeah.
No less of a machine.
Yeah.
They're good running, reliable, accurate. Yeah.
Have you had any major issues with them?
No, not at all.
Anything? It's got to be something,
The
right?
only one time that we thought something happened was we have a maintenance guy that does a preventive maintenance schedule here, like every 6 months, every 12 months. We do a cleaning and all that stuff, and we indicate the ways in and spindle in,
Right.
just to see everything's good. We thought we had a spindle that was going bad, and it was, I think, the first original bridge mill. So what Campro did is, without any hesitation, is they shipped us a brand new spindle. We went through all the inspections and everything. We found out there wasn't even anything wrong with it.
Oh.
Maybe there was a parameter that we adjusted or something for circle interpolating. So then I thought to myself, well, geez, I got this spindle sitting here. Maybe it's a good idea that I just have one because we have so many Campros. So Campro turned around and gave us a really reasonable price just to stock it here, and,
Right.
and we kept it.
Sweet.
But honestly, maybe maybe a sensor here and there, but those are normal things.
Okay.
You know, chips get melted or wires get melted from hot chips and coolant. But it's so minimal. It's really nothing.
Yeah.
So
Similar to any other legit machine
I'd
you
say
got.
even better, yeah.
Better, yeah. Can we take a look inside your bridge
Sure.
later? Here. Not using the full travel here, but you got the capacity to do it, right?
Yeah, sometimes when the shop gets overloaded, we run small parts over here too, just to get caught up in the other departments.
Sure.
But most of the time we're running pretty big parts. There's the one on the floor over there that
Oh yeah.
I think was ran over here.
So what type of work, is there a certain industry that you mostly serve?
It's paper companies, plastic bags. We even do work for aluminum printing, drying systems, paper printing, drying. You know,
Right.
it's a lot of different fields.
It's job shop work though, right?
Yep, all job shop. We don't do a lot of production, so there's a lot of ones and twos. Production for us is 20 to 50 pieces. You know?
Okay.
Those are big orders for us.
Right.
We do that too. But yeah, a lot of like a side frame like this. I mean, there'll be one or usually two per machine, and they're all custom built parts.
So that's for some custom production line.
Yeah, it'll end up being a corrugated cardboard machine, or maybe a paper bag machine. You know, you can see a lot of different stuff like that. Bearing housings.
Right.
We can do that kind of stuff too.
So you got quite the machine here. What is this?
That's our Toshiba boring bar. So that does a lot of our bigger weldments and side frames.
What are the travels on that? Do you know off the top of your head?
120 inches in Y, maybe about 80 inches in X, and 90 inches tall or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's huge.
I probably got the coordinates backwards. I'm a lathe guy, but
Quite the fixtures you got on there.
yeah. So those are going to be angle plates for like throwing up a side frame and maybe doing edge work and stuff on it.
Okay.
Or even sometimes the face work. But yeah, those are the angle plates to actually mount the part too. But yeah, this is our biggest machine as far as size of a part. You know, the Campros and the Awea do longer parts, but maybe not as wide and tall. So
Do you keep this thing running pretty much all the time?
yeah, this runs 2 shifts, and we run like 20 hours a day.
Wow.
2 10-hour shifts. So
That's impressive to have that big of a machine booked out.
it seems like the big machines keep themselves pretty busy.
Yeah.
So, and that's what's kind of new to us about 10 to 12 years ago, was getting into big equipment. We used to just run 20 by 40s. I think we had a 50 by 20. But when we got into our Awea was the first long, big planer mill. And we realized there was a little more work out there than we thought for some big equipment. So that's when we added this addition and started adding big equipment.
Oh, so you were just over.
We were just originally at the end of the wall right there,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we added the cranes. Femco was the first bar we had, and then we added this Toshiba.
Right.
And then, the Awea and the 2 Campros are kind of equal size planer mills, I would call
So
them.
this is your Awea here.
Yep.
Older one.
Quite a bit older.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're actually in the works with Campro to replace that someday.
Okay. Would you get the same one as this, a 3216?
Next size
up. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like a 4016 or something.
Yeah, 42.
With the 90-degree head on it and all that stuff. So
I see you got a 90-degree head here.
yeah. So we've actually even used that head on the Campro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we kind of made a block that fits on the bottom of the spindle. And then times when this is overloaded and not doing 90-degree work, we've done it over there already. But it's more of a manual 90-degree head. You know, you can turn it at a degree and run it, and then you manually turn it. I think our next one will get one that's a little more automated.
So this looks like it has a huge riser plate on it.
Yep, so that's the way that we can get at not so much travel between tool changes and things like that.
Right.
A couple feet higher to the spindle. But there is times we have to take that riser off.
Wow.
Because we're doing a side work or just doing a taller part. So it's not always that way. So.
That's probably quite the project to even get that thing off.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's and that's where the bar comes into play too. So if it takes too much to do, take that riser off and do end work, we'll put it up on the side plates over here or the angle plates and do it on this machine.
Right.
So each machine kind of has its purpose from what it's good at or what we're faster at. But yeah, someday we're hoping to replace the Awea with a newer Campro. We kind of have some bids already, but we're just waiting for the time to be right.
Right. Yep.
Like everything else I do, I wait till probably too long, and then we need it right away.
Right.
So.
Need it yesterday.
Yeah.
That's how machine shops work. But.
Yep.
And you got a Toyota here.
Yep. That one we've had for quite a few years. It was one of the first newer machines I bought.
50 taper, right?
50 taper, yeah. I think it's 50 by 30 travels. Really accurate. No different than the Campros though. I mean, they're also accurate. But at the time it was something that we thought would fit well with us. And I think since then we kind of branched out from the Toyota brand, but
yeah,
but definitely a good machine.
Now these are Box Way, right?
Yeah, yep. So this is like a 20 by 40. This is the one that's a 30 by 50, or 20 something by 50, 25 by 50.
Yeah, I think, yep.
I don't know if he's got a part running in there now. Must have stopped when we were coming over here.
Yep. How long have you had this 1300 here?
About 2 years,
Yeah.
2.5 years. And at the time we bought that one, yeah, probably about 2.5 years ago. And then we bought these other two about 2 years ago.
You got the 1050s at the same time?
Yep. These two are similar, or identical actually.
Yeah.
And then this one's a little bit bigger.
So these ones have the 31 inches of Z travel. Does that come in handy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we got that, our programmer, he came running in and he's like, did you know how much travel those have in Z? And I'm like, I think standard, right? 20 something. And he's like, no, it's 30, like you said, 31 inches. I mean, we always have to tip stuff up, even, smaller angle plates, end holes. And there's never enough room to even do a tool change anymore. I mean, these have a lot of Z length. That's huge.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a pretty awesome
we do like that.
feature of these ones.
Unfortunately, at the time, these guys are working a night shift, so these are running more at night.
Yeah.
We came across a couple of night shift guys, so we actually have almost a bigger night shift at the moment than
Oh,
a day
really?
shift. Yeah. Which is good because those are hard to find.
Yeah.
The night shift guys. So, but yeah, so they do all the smaller milling over here, and we had a tent and twin horn. Those are the other two. Not nearly as rigid as these Campros, but
Right.
they also fit well for
Yeah.
drilling and tapping and small milling. And
These
stuff
are all
like
40
that.
taper. This is your 40 taper cell, I guess,
Yeah.
over here then.
I could show you the lathe stuff over
Yeah.
here too. Because the lathe department, that's kind of where my background came from, was lathes. I worked at a roll company. That was my first job, and so I've always wanted to build up a lathe department to a point where we could do some roller business, some shaft work. With side frames comes long turning work, so it's just kind of fitting to have this stuff.
Right.
So we have 120 inches of travel on 3 of our lathes.
Nice.
This one here has live tooling. So we do have the ability to do some milling.
Sweet. What type of machine is Mori Sekis? Okay.
Yep, Mori Sekis.
Nice.
Those are very rigid
Yeah.
machines and good for steady rest with the flat bed.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, you can kind of see the different years of machines here. This is like a 90s machine. This is a 2000 machine. That's a 2005 machine.
Okay, and
So
they're
we
all
just kinda-
Moris.
Yep, all Mori Sekis. I always like Mori Sekis.
Oh yeah, Moris have such a good
Yeah,
reputation.
they're tough equipment. So.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sweet.
so we got into building rolls. We do aluminum, steel, stainless. Those are ones that are in process right now. But we just shrunk the heads in and stuff, so he has to do some finish turning yet.
So when you say rolls for the like paper stuff that you're talking about,
yeah. So everything, all the equipment that we kind of build for companies, if they're running a product, it's going to have a roll on it somewhere, So we build the side frames and the weldments, but there's going to be a roll in there, spinning the web or the paper or the plastic, whatever. So I wanted to be able to handle that part too. And so that's what we try to do. We're just kind of diversified to do a little bit of everything.
right?
For the customers we have, yeah, we get a majority of the opportunity, and wherever fits in well with us, whatever kind of time we have available, those are the jobs we're getting. So pricing. But yeah, here's a couple different rolls too that have a pattern on them, or
Okay.
different shapes to them, and we can do that all on the lathe or the mill. We've done some of this work on the 4th axis of the Campro, where we milled that in there.
Right. Now, why wouldn't you have just done this on Mori with the live tools?
At the time, we didn't have the live tooling.
Oh, okay.
So now we do.
Right.
Yeah, so now we do. And not
Now-
always though.
So you just recently got this
Yeah, I
machine?
would say 6 months ago.
Okay. It's a pretty. I haven't seen a Mori like in this layout
Okay,
before.
yeah.
Now I haven't.
Yeah, they're really
been on
nice. It has a live spindle on the turret. That's how you can do the grooming and stuff.
Right.
fact, some of these aluminum rolls coming up are going to have a pattern on them that we are going to do in here. So yeah, definitely a good machine.
Yeah,
for what
this
we're doing.
like flatbed
Yeah,
deal is
that's what's nice
unique.
about doing steady rest, follow rest. You don't have to deal with the slant or anything.
Right.
It just has the flatbed to it. So everything we have is universal too. So even though that machine's a 90s, this is a 2000, that's a 2005. The distance between the ways is the same on every one.
Oh, these are
so
all,
if I take a steady rest from that machine, I can
Yeah.
put it on this one. Or take a follower from over there, it fits on this one.
that's probably huge for
So that's
just
why we
ease
try
of
to-
setup and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep. So all the cooling is universal.
So what would be the advantage of this configuration versus a slant bed? Or disadvantage, I guess. It's probably both, right?
The slant beds are hard. To me, it was always hard to mount anything like a steady rest or anything. Because this I can pick up with a crane and I can set down and I can slide it around manually. I don't even have to do it with power or anything and lock it down where I want it. On a slant, you're constantly, seems like kind of forcing it in a position. And again, then if I had a slant bed mixed with these machines, none of these would fit on a slant. You know, it's a different configuration
Sure.
of how they're made.
Sure.
It just seems like for doing roll work and shaft work, the flatbeds are the way to go.
Right.
So we've just stuck with that.
Yep, gotcha. There's a place near me that used to be the old Bethlehem Steel. I don't know if you've heard of Bethlehem Steel.
I have not.
I mean, it's a big history for steel making in the U.S. Old plant now, but they have a machine shop there now that does rolls.
Okay.
But the equipment there is so big that some of these rolls that are
yeah.
in the lathe I was in there one time, the rolls had to be 10-foot in diameter.
Yeah.
You know, and like
Huge, yeah.
huge.
Yeah, yeah.
It was crazy. And like some of the chips that would come off these machines
Oh, yeah.
are like, you know,
Chunks of
multiple
steel, yeah.
pounds.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. And the
Yeah.
carbide inserts are huge.
Yeah, we don't do anything quite that big.
Yeah, no,
But same idea.
That's a different ballgame.
Same
but
idea how to make them, yeah.
Can we look at this? So,
Yeah.
so this is the same machine, it's just older.
Yeah, yep.
I feel like a lot of the machine tool builders were green at one point.
Yeah, it seems that
I
way.
know Hitachi's, Mazak, Mori's,
Yeah.
they were all green at one point.
I don't know what the color coordinations were about,
Yeah.
but yeah, so this machine we're gonna be boring out some of those aluminum rolls, just as accurate as the new ones. I mean, they're a well-built machine and they hold their tolerances really good.
So how old is this machine?
I think it's a 91
And you can what type of tolerance could you hold on this machine?
tenths,
Yeah.
2 tenths, 3 tenths.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would imagine your control limits you sometimes.
Yeah, but we do our programming offline anyways. So I'm sending a lot of programs over via another programming system. And these will read a program just like any other one.
Okay.
But maybe the user friendliness of the control is different. You know, but they're not far off.
Do you have to like drip feed ever? Like if it's too much memory for the
Yeah, we have had that.
yeah.
But a lot of times if we get to that scenario, we'll just run it on a newer one that
True.
does have a little more memory.
I guess a lathe program is a lot smaller than
Yeah,
something
I
on
think
the
for the
mill,
most part, yeah.
especially if you're doing some high-speed machining or something
Yep,
on the mill.
yep. Yeah, that's kind of our chucking machine. We do journals and chuck work on that one. It's also a Mori Sekis. Also runs just like these, same controls as the big one. So
Nice. Allied. I used to be the rep for these guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You like
Okay.
their stuff?
yeah, that's what our spade drills are.
How you doing? Good. How are you? Good. Yeah, they're a good company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's an example of like steady rests. Like there's a couple different size steady rests. You know, that'll fit on any of those machines I just showed you
Yep.
because they're all the same distance between the V and the flat, and they're all flatbed, and
Neat.
just helps out to simplify things here too. And maybe that's why we're kind of leading into the Campro too. It's like they're a good machine, and if we just simplify things and buy more of the same, then when we train people,
Right.
there's only one way to do it. So,
Right. And you guys already had FANUC controllers.
Yeah.
So that's an
Right,
easy.
the controls are
Yeah.
FANUC anyway, so.
Now, are the Moris, are they basically a FANUC
Yeah,
wrapped in
it
a
is.
Mori Sekis?
Yep,
Yeah.
it is, yep. It's called like a MC control of some sort, but it's a FANUC.
Right.
Everything's FANUC here.
Yeah. And it's the builders set them all up similarly, so somebody that's running one of these could hop on a FANUC on a
Absolutely.
Toyota or a Campro.
Absolutely, yeah. There's very little differences.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Has the whole tariff deal and all that stuff affected you guys?
I don't think so. I mean, if anything, probably in a good way, because I've seen an uptick in work. As far as pricing of steel and inserts and stuff like that, if there is, it's pretty minimal. I'd like to see the work in the United States.
So you're a thumbs up on tariffs?
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's working, and I'm good with it. So
Yeah.
like I said, I think we've actually seen an uptick in work. So
And you think that's directly related to the tariffs bringing stuff
somewhat,
back?
yeah, somewhat. And I hope it's long term. I mean, I remember years ago, actually when I started this company, that's when a lot of things went to China. That's tough, taking all the work away from us. So if we can get it back here, and it costs a couple extra dollars here and there on tooling, that's no big deal. I mean, I like to have the product made here and make a better product and
Yeah.
keep our guys busy.
So I think the argument against that, people would say, well, like, yeah, it's good for you because you have a business, but then we're going to have to, the prices are going to go up somewhat because there's a reason why it went to China.
Yeah.
So, like, what would you say to that?
Well, remember quality though too. I think quality is a little bit stronger here in the United States. So I was always against buying stuff in China just because I feel like some companies felt like, yeah, it's cheap, our bottom line. But then when they get the part, then they have to modify it and remake parts of it because it's not right. And if you put all that together and shipping, you put that all together, why not make it here in the United States and it's good,
Yeah.
accurate. We're right here to work on it if you have any changes. I don't know how that benefits anybody. They say it does, but how?
Yeah. Just pricing wise, I would
Pricing,
say,
yeah.
right?
But in the
Cheaper
end, I
cost-
still don't think it's cheaper. Because if you have to remake it and do all these other things, quality issues, how can it be cheaper?
So I'll give you an example. So there's a big automotive job shop near me. They do a lot of work for like Mack, Volvo, big heavy machinery.
Yep.
Hundreds of thousands of parts a year. So I was talking to them recently, and this was when the 145% tariff was in effect.
Yep.
And they get a lot of their castings from China for their ductile iron, steering knuckles and stuff.
Yep.
And they were saying that even with 145% tariff, it was still cheaper to buy the castings from China.
Okay.
And the quality was better.
Okay.
Oh man, we got to bring back like all that, the foundries and everything.
Yeah, it's a process for sure.
Yeah, hopefully, it seems like for a national security thing too, it's like we got to be able to make crap here, right?
Yeah, what if we can?
Right.
What if we have to make a casting for some jet engine and China's the only one that can make it?
Right.
That wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I understand that too.
Right.
We got to get the plants to come back here so it's cheaper here.
Right.
And quality's good here.
Yeah. It's hard to find people that know how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
You experience that as well?
Yep.
Yeah.
For a long time, even when I was in high school, the trade school mentality was gone. I remember signing up for high school classes in Machine Shop 1, Machine Shop 2, and out of 460 kids in my class, I was the only one that wanted to take the class.
Really?
So they canceled it, They
Right.
can't have a class with one kid. So my dad had went to the school and tried to promote these classes and work with teachers, because he also did this for a living. He's retired now, but tried to promote these kids. Not the only way in life is to go to school for business.
Right.
In fact, I never went to business class ever. I just came and started machining parts, and I learned the business part on the fly.
Right.
So we lost a lot of kids that could potentially be good technical people to business,
Right.
financing, things like that. So hopefully it comes back around, because I know it seems to be slightly.
I actually saw something on the news the other night. It was World News or whatever. They had a segment about the big uptick in kids going to trade schools and stuff.
And I know that they even have good equipment in high schools now, and some other companies may even donate equipment to the high schools,
Right.
just to kids interested in it and stuff. And then we know the teachers at the tech school and everything, and it seems like the quantity of people are there. The problem is that there hasn't been a lot out in the workforce. Some of them either decide not to do it then or whatever, but it's hard to find people in this field at the moment.
Right.
So if we had more people available, we could definitely grow faster.
Right.
So that's a growth hinder on us as people.
Now, do you think, like certain countries in Europe, I know they have like really robust apprenticeship programs where kids would go just work at a local place and get some kind of high school credit for it.
Sure.
Has anything been done like that around here?
Yep, they do that around here. We did it with one student so far, and it worked really well.
Yeah. Did he stay on with you?
Yep.
Oh, good.
We also offer to anybody that works here, if they go to school for machining of any sort or further their education, we pay for it 100%.
Nice.
So yeah, we have a very flexible schedule too with the amount of hours we work. With first and second shift, that some guys go to school during the day and work at night, or just the opposite. But yeah, to get people to go through the program and stick with it is going to be necessary, hopefully.
Right.
It is for us. I mean, I could probably be twice this size if we had 10 more good guys.
Really?
And we could hire 10 more right now.
So the work's there, you just need the guys.
Yep. Yep. Pretty much.
That's tough.
It's hard to run all the machines. Like, these guys can't do everything, so we need help.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, I mean, most shops would say that they can't find people, but yeah.
And it kind of sucks too when you gotta, we have competitors in the valley, but I hate to take a nice guy from a competitor, because then all of a sudden it happens to me. All of a sudden I lose a guy to somebody, so I know how it feels.
Right.
I'd rather pick a guy out of tech school. I'd pick a guy that wants to go to school and just train him, versus stealing people.
Yeah, certainly.
Because it seems like it's
probably get some bad blood going.
It's like it seems like a cycle.
Right.
I'll have a really good guy leave here, and then a couple of years later he wants to come back here, and I'll lose a guy to a competitor, and they can be competitors, but we don't want to sit and try to steal people that way.
Of course.
It'd be nice to have a bucket of people to grab from, and we all can have enough. So.
Yeah. Well, rising tide raises all ships, right? So hopefully that's what happens with the bringing work back and stuff. So.
That would be great. So here's a couple of longer parts too that we do on the Campro machine.
Oh, yeah. So is this for some kind of press brake or something?
No, it's actually side frames for like a conveyor of some sort. So yeah, a lot of stuff we do is like material handling.
Okay.
So moving product from one place to the other. I mean, look at places like...
It's quite the crane.
Yeah, it had to be big because of the span that we wanted to do.
Oh, right.
So that's why it's a double beam, and yeah, a lot of extra steel in there.
Yep.
So yeah, he's running one of those right now. He's pulling one off. Yeah, that's what he's got in there.
How long have you had this Campro?
This one's probably already 5 years old. So 5 to 6 years old. This was the first one that we bought. I'd have to ask Jeff exactly how long ago it was, but it's been holding up great.
You ever crashed it real hard?
I wouldn't say real hard. I'm sure there's little bumps and bruises here and there, but these guys are pretty good about that stuff.
Yep.
I don't know that we've ever crashed a machine that wiped it out too bad. So. But there's some adjustments once in a while. That's a CNC saw.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where our stock.
You bring material right in here.
Yeah. Yep. We don't ever stock too much just because we don't have the room. We used to have a little more material in stock, but we use that room to put the machines in instead.
Yeah.
So now there's places like Speedy Metals and Metals Express and all that ship the order. I mean, we can order the stuff and have it here tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we do that to conserve space here on the shop floor.
Speaking of space, you said that you might be expanding, right?
Yeah, we bought some land just down the road from here. We're currently on about 1.5 acres with about 15,000 square feet total. We bought a lot that's 6 acres in size, and we have a facility design that is about 30,000 square feet, and we can do as much as double that, so it could go to 60,000 as needed. And that way we can just kind of grow as we find people and find the work and feel the need to do that. And that's our little weld area. Okay. All the weldments that you see we do here.
Oh, okay.
He works a lot of overtime. So yeah, he does a nice job.
So obviously that's machined. Is that machined before it gets welded?
No,
or
after.
And then what machine do you put down? Probably one of the big boring
that bar
mills,
will do like the end work.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll do all the work on the bar, but sometimes we'll do the vertical work on a Campro like this, and then we'll just put it up there to do the end work.
Right.
Kind of depends on the workload.
Yep.
But the end work for sure, ends up being on a bar. Some of it we do with the 90-degree head.
Oh, right. Yeah, he was actually hooking that head up right over there.
Yep, so we've done that too. Again, depending on the workload.
Nice. So this is These are both Femco, right?
This is a Femco, this is a Toyota.
Oh, okay.
Or Toshiba, I mean.
Toshiba.
This is a Toshiba.
This is a big machine, but this thing makes it look like little.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's got a little different style of guarding and stuff on it. But also does big plate work. I mean, when this was newer than this one, we used to do a lot of really intricate stuff over here. But then we upgraded to this one, and now we do a lot of a little more intricate work on that one.
Yeah. Neat.
But this one was brand new when we bought it, actually.
Okay. How long ago did you buy it?
Probably 10 years ago.
Okay.
So it's been a little while.
So these have like a ram in it, right? So which would be different than
Oh, you mean the quill?
Yeah. Oh, quill. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this has a quill. So does the Toshiba. That's the W axis they call it. So it gives you whatever 12, 14 inches more of travel past what you would have like in Y travel.
Right. Okay. So the table travels.
Table goes in and out.
And then you have the W on the quill.
Yep. So it goes in and out. The head moves up and down. Table moves back and forth. And the table index is every degree.
It's 1 degree index, you said?
Yep, I think it's 1 degree increments.
Nice. Can I step up here?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Cool.
Try to stay organized with different setup stuff. These are different riser blocks and everything. Yeah.
Do you have any machines or tools or fixtures where once you got it, you were like, man, I should have bought this 10 years ago?
Yeah, every one of them.
Okay.
If you wait, do things the hard way. And then it's like, okay, we've got enough of that kind of work, so we buy a piece of equipment, and it's night and day. It's like, oh man, if only I would have done that 5 years ago. Maybe not that long, but yeah. If you have a plan and you have the work, probably don't hold back. You know, get the right equipment, get the right tooling, and it makes a world of difference. Even the employees like it better because then they don't have to struggle with old equipment or old tooling.
Yeah.
So, show you inspection a little bit.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
I know we bought it's covered up there right now, but it's a roamer arm that they throw on these bigger pieces of equipment so we can measure parts even while they're on the machine.
Okay.
So let's say a bore has a 5/10 location or something, and we can bore things undersized on location, and then we can check everything. So we have to tweak the program a little bit. We can actually move it without even taking the part out and actually make it right the first time.
Right.
Instead of getting it to inspection and finding out, shoot, this bore's half a thou off location. You know, find out before you're done with it.
Yep.
And make the adjustment. So yeah, that's this is just a height gauge inspection table, but underneath here is
okay, that's the arm you're talking
is
about.
the roamer arm.
Yeah, neat.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. Wasn't cheap.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess,
but it's a hot
70 grand.
I think it was close to 100.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
By the time we got everything.
You could buy that arm, or you could buy a small vertical.
Yeah, right. Pretty much. But this is important.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have a lot of high-end quality customers. We don't build Hondas, we build Cadillacs, they say. So, the quality is huge. We have to be on top of that all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is kind of just a staging area for inspection. So these are all parts that are done. We do have another smaller type arm. Okay. That he also can do. So.
How you doing?
So right now the one that we just saw at the beginning of the day in the Campro, he's probably doing a first piece inspection on maybe. 100% first piece. Okay. So when he's running 20 of them, we know.
Right. You check the first one, make sure everything's balanced.
Yep.
Very cool.
So yeah, so that's kind of the computer system there. Works with that roamer arm too. Okay. He's done all the schooling and stuff to learn all that. All our gauging and stuff. Climate controlled room. Actually, that case right there is what it goes in. Oh yeah. That's a suitcase. Right. So that's why it was so expensive. But here's all the smaller pieces. Smaller 20 by 40 millwork and things. Okay. So they're just parts you have in stock for your customers, or? Yep, or they're waiting for inspection, or they're done with inspection. And then they're waiting for shipping and receiving to come and box them up and ship them out. What's I guess your least favorite thing about running the business? Years ago was the amount of hours. I mean, it wouldn't be anything to work 80 hours a week. In fact, me and another guy, I think our record was 36 hours straight, a couple different times. Whoa. Just to keep customers satisfied. Wow. So that was tough, you know, while you're trying to bring up a family and all that stuff too. Right. So I can remember Christmases, and holidays, being at home, and as soon as we got through our holiday stuff, I was right back to work. Either parts I needed to be machined or a machine was down and I had to fix or whatever. So that was tough. But once you surround yourself with good people and can kind of delegate work, that's when it started to become a little more rewarding.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just a few years at the beginning when you start. It's not, I haven't been doing that for 23 years.
Right.
The first 3, 4, 5 years were tough.
Yeah.
There was a lot of times that I thought about stopping and going back to work. I kept pretty good relations with places that I worked, and I could have easily went back to work. And at those particular days, I was ready to. But today, I'm glad that I never did.
Right.
Because it's rewarding at this point.
Yeah. So you enjoy your work now?
Yes. Now we're to the point where we're just tweaking things out and making things better, making things faster, meeting new customers, meeting people. I like to hang out with different people and talk to people, and so that's always fun. And, and then just the growth. Each time we have a growth spurt, it's exciting to see the results in the end, and see that all the work was worth it. So.
Yeah, when you own a business, you get the fruits of your labor, whether it's good or bad, right? So it's really rewarding when it goes well.
But when it's bad, then it's really bad.
Yeah, you got to wear that one.
Yeah, exactly. But no, all in, it's been a good experience. So
you would do it again?
I'd do it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. 20 years ago, I would have said no, but.
Oh, really?
But now I would say.
So when you said there's some times when you were considering quitting. Is that because it was just a lot of work, or because it was hard to get work and you were?
Mostly because it was hard. It was hard to get the work done because I had enough work, but I didn't have the people to help me. So I was running the machines by myself. Not by myself, but like I said, I had 3, 4, 5 good guys come on, probably about year 3 or 4 or 5, somewhere around there. But even then, we just had so much work that all of us were working 50, 60 hours a week. Me and a couple of our guys here were working 80 hours a week. So yeah, just the amount of hours, and the stress, and then everything. I mean, I got to pay the bills, I got to pay the employees, I got to pay for rent at the time, and so you don't. With family, and so you're not only worried about getting all the parts done right, but you also have to worry about everything else. So yeah, it's a little stressful, but again, now looking back, it was well worth it.
Right.
So,
yeah. Well, it seems like you've been successful. I mean, you got 30 employees and a nice shop with a lot of equipment. So.
Your area's cleaner than most, so. And it's a newer machine, so it looks a little nicer.